Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. It's the first Thursday of the month, which means it's recipe time on Across the Fence. Many of us will be headed to the apple orchard this weekend, and for some ideas on how to cook with these beautiful and delicious Vermont apples, I've called on our chefs to create a number of apple recipes today. And joining me, of course, are Carolyn Peak from Williamstown and Marco Ayala from South Hero. It's great to have you here, and we'll get to recipes in just a moment. But before, I first want to congratulate Jean Foster of Barrie, who is the winner of our free cookbook drawing from last month. Jean, you'll be receiving your cookbook in the mail any day now, and we trust you'll find plenty of recipes to share with your family and friends. Now, this month's free drawing is for the cookbook salads. There are dozens of ideas, from the simple to the elegant, and of course there are fruit salads and ways to incorporate apples into your favorite salad. All you have to do is enter our free drawing. All you have to do is to send your name with your contact information to the address that I'll highlight at the end of the show. Now, to get apple recipes started, I'm going to turn things over to Carolyn.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Well, it's really nice to have the time that it's apples, because the trees are just loaded this year, and so if you miss out on it, I don't know. But I found several very nice recipes, and I'm going to start off with an apple chicken stew. And this has just got your normal spices and things that you would use in a nice soup. And then it's got carrots and onions and potatoes and chicken, of course. And this is just going to be really nice for some of these cool days that are going to be coming up on us. And we can have that, just, you know, a really, really good soup, nice and warm. And I've been getting the message from people that they want the slow cookers back. So I used 2 of my slow cookers this time, the soup, and then in a little bit we'll do some applesauce too. Now, to go with the soup, I have an apple bread, and this is just a very simple bread that is chock-a-block full with chunks of apple. And it also, one of the things I like about it is that it makes 2 loaves. So you've got one for now, and the other one you can put in the freezer and have that maybe a little later in the fall or this winter. You just wrap it well, put it in the freezer, and you're all set with it. Now the applesauce. This was really fun because you just cut up your apples, put them in the slow cooker, set it for 5 or 6 hours, whatever. You've got all your stuff, like the different spices and things that go into it. And then you just mash them up once they're all done and soft. Mash them up, and you've got a really yummy applesauce that just, again, it's a great side dish. You might want to use it. Hey, use it for breakfast sometime. That's a different way to use it. Now, gotta have a dessert. And I've gotten things all messed up nicely because I left my papers at home, and so luckily Marco could run things off for me. This is caramel apple oatmeal crisp, and doesn't that look yummy? Your apples are on the bottom, and then the topping is made with a cookie mix. So if you have a favorite oatmeal cookie mix, this is the time to bring it out. You mix the cookie mix with some butter, and you put the apples in the bottom, put the cookie mix over the top, and then when it's done, now I'll tell you something about me. You all know that chocolate is my favorite thing. Well, caramel runs a close second. And so this uses caramel, the ice cream topping thing, and it is drizzled over the top once the thing has finished baking. So you've got a nice caramelly apple crisp, a really nice dessert. Put some whipped cream on it, put some ice cream on it. You can serve it cold, you can serve it hot. It's one of those really nice things to, easy things to make. These did not take very long. The things that took the longest were peeling the apples. So you're all set with a good meal plus dessert. Marco, what have you got over here? I love the looks of some of them.
You know what? What I did is that I kept the peels on, because
Yeah.
then it saves a lot of time.
It does, but some things you really have to
Yeah,
take them
you
off
have to.
for.
However, what I have to tell you is, you can never have enough caramel.
Oh, this is true.
Right? So
Yes.
let's just add a little bit more, because, it closes around second in your list.
Yes. Okay, everybody, that's my part.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Okay.
Oh, well, fall is my most favorite season. The temperatures drop a little bit. We get one of the most spectacular shows nature can give us here in Vermont, which is hill after hill of orange and bright red leaves. And the fresh apples are ready for picking right at your local orchard. So please remember to support your local farmers and your local farm stands. And my first recipe is all about ingredients that you can get locally. And I'm going to start with cinnamon apple pork chops. These pork chops are easy to make and with ingredients that you most likely already have in your pantry. So the recipe calls for boneless pork chops, but I personally like bone-in better. So you can then make the recipe your own. I also use a mixture of apples, tart apples work great, but I use Ruby Max and Honey Crisp, so it's tart and sweet at the same time. This dish is easy as you cook your pork chops in a pan, then remove them and cook the apples with brown sugar, nutmeg, and salt. By doing this, the pork in the pork juices, it deglazes the pan and adds a rich flavor that is savory and sweet. So I really hope you give this recipe a try and let me know how you like it. So these are cinnamon apple pork chops. Now, I want to also stress that all of my recipes this month are very budget friendly. A lot of the ingredients that I use are probably ingredients that you already have in hand, such as the ones for this side dish that will go well with pork, chicken, or turkey. These honey roasted apples are an interesting substitution to applesauce. All you need is some Granny Smith and Braeburn apples, or another variety that retains their shape when cooked because once you brown them, you are going to add butter, honey, salt, and bake them right in the pan. The apples caramelize in the honey, and then they're tender but not mushy. Like I said, make the recipe your own. Try different varieties of apples, and if you have any questions, ask the people at your local orchard. I got mine at Hackett's Orchard in South Hero, and Deb Plumley, who has shared her recipes here with us and across the fence, always gives me great advice on what varieties to use. So this is for a nice side dish. So now that we've done our main courses, let's go with dessert. So I want to start with this apple pie baked apples. And just look at this cute little individual apples. This recipe is not only fun, but it's also better for you as there is not that as much crust as the in your regular pie. First, you core your apples, hollow them out, and then you cook an extra apple along with the pieces you took out with cornstarch, water, cinnamon, sugar, vanilla, and ginger. Once the apples are soft, you put the filling into them and fill the hollow parts with the filling. Create a lattice crust with all the with your favorite pie crust recipe and bake them for 20 to 30 minutes. And then I like drizzling them with caramel, and I also like serving them with vanilla ice cream. And just look at that. Doesn't that look so yummy? So for my last recipe, well, before I need to first finish the caramel here. Okay, so for my last recipe, I have this beautiful apple puff pastry apple roses. And these are made with puff pastry, so it's really easy. There's almond paste here, sugar, cinnamon, and cardamom. For this recipe, you slice the apples real thin, toss them in the dry ingredients, which is like cinnamon, cardamom, and a little bit of sugar, and then the almond paste. Then you bake them for 20 to 25 minutes, and the puff pastry and the peel of the apple make them look like little roses. And I also want to mention that this recipe is good for people that suffer diabetes, because as there is only 2 tablespoons sugar in my whole recipe. My grandmother is diabetic, so I always keep my eye out for recipes that she can have. Now, Fran, you can't tell me this is not... Isn't this like a bouquet of roses that you would love to get?
Yes, gorgeous, gorgeous. I love some of these. I mean, these look so beautiful, and they just look yummy.
See, this is what I call a 2-bite dessert.
Yes.
Right? I mean, look at the size.
1, 2, done.
1, 2, and then you're on to the next one.
And deglazing with the apples.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah, because the apples will release some juices.
Sure.
And that deglazes the apples, and all those brown bits is what really adds a lot of like the richness.
Right. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
well, I'm definitely
works
going to
great.
try that. And those are so beautiful.
I know.
Little pies.
Yeah, and
Wow.
and the best thing is that they're actually better for you because you're not eating that much crust.
Right.
So it's like you get all the apple pie fun
And
and all the calories.
It looks gorgeous. Well, thank you so much, Marco, and of course, thanks to Carolyn with all of these wonderful dishes that look yummy as well. So as always, we have a couple of different ways that you can get today's recipes. You can go online to Across the Fence's website, go to uvm.edu/extension, and click on the link to Across the Fence. You'll find the recipe tab highlighted in green, and that's on the right-hand side of the web page. To get the recipes by mail, send $2 in a self-stamped, self-addressed, business-sized envelope to Apple Recipes, Box 188, South Hero, Vermont 05486. Please remember, if you're ordering the recipes, to include that $2 and a stamped, self-addressed envelope. We'll use your return address for the free cookbook drawing. And even if you're not ordering the recipes, you can still send along your name and address to be entered into the free drawing. The address again is Box 188 in South Hero, and the zip code is 05486. And that's all the time we have for today. Thanks again to our chefs Carolyn and Marco, and they'll be back next month with more recipes and more food and more fun. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining us Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Thanks.